Alright guys, so hopefully this will run smoothly because sometimes there is some trial and error with this, but I'm going to show you guys how I prepare my CB09 blade. So when you get a new blade, I guess it depends on where you get it from, but it will come if you buy it through the link that I'm going to post on eBay, it'll come in a little plastic tube, and you'll get a little box. You may get several of these boxes depending on how many blades you buy, but you will get that, and then this will come out of here, and inside of your plastic box will be your blades, and then there's springs. So this is an entire pack of 45-degree angle, and right now I want to use 60-degree, and I'm actually on my last 60-degree blade here. So it's time for me to order some more. Once you have the holder, you don't need to buy another one unless you want to have your blades like preset for different materials, like heat transfer vinyl and adhesive vinyl. You can usually cut on the same one, but metallic vinyls, glitter vinyls, some of the thicker heat transfer vinyls like the flocked or brick, you would need to adjust your blade. So you could get several of these if you want to keep them preset, but your blade comes like this. It has a little rubber cap, and it comes with springs. So you need to get one of your springs, and what you're going to do is you're going to unscrew this black piece and go ahead and keep the little rubber cap on there, and inside of this is a little hole, and you want to insert this fat end of the blade into that little hole, and then take off the rubber cap. You can see the angle of the blade that I'm using is a 60-degree. I'm going to use the 60-degree because more often than not I'm cutting adhesive vinyl, just regular, like a Oracal type, or like a Caesar Easy Weed or something like that. So this will be good. If you do a lot of the metallic vinyls and things like that, you might want to use the 45. For thicker cardstock, cover stock, and things like that, you're going to want to use the 30-degree. And then your spring's just going to slide over your blade, just like that. If you can see that, okay? And then you're going to take your little black cap, and you want to carefully put this cap over your blade, and be careful, you don't want to break the tip off of your blade, and screw that black piece down. Now if you look, you can see that my blade is sticking out a lot, and that's way too deep. So what you want to do is take this piece here and dial it back until you cannot see that blade sticking out anymore, or it's just very, even now this is still sticking out too far, so we're going to dial it back a little more. And so what I do is I take a piece of vinyl, and work with me on this focusing thing, and I will just I'm not bearing down really hard, but I'm just taking normal pressure, and I'm dragging it across my vinyl, and it's kind of cutting the vinyl but not perfect. Try with just a little more pressure, and that time we did cut the vinyl. We cut a little bit of the paper backing as well, which you don't want either, because then when you go to take the vinyl off, sometimes the backing will stick to the back of your vinyl letters and you have to go in and pick them off. But at least we're kind of at a starting point. So I'm actually going to dial it back just a little more and try again. Again, I'm not using a lot of force, just a little bit, and we are getting that cut. And it's not cutting the paper. If it was cutting all the way through the paper, you'd want to dial it back. If it's not cutting it all the way through or not cutting it at all, you're going to want to dial it out a little more. So then we're going to put this in our machine. So let's go over here to the machine. And let's see how we're going to do this. Okay. See my little cup of blades. I have another CB09, and then I label my ratchet blades based on what I use them for. I don't like to use the same blade for cardstock that I use for anything else, because cardstock is really hard on a blade. But I'm going to insert this, and that wasn't on camera, so I'll do it again. I've been using a CB09 for a while, so mine's kind of used to it, but you might have to give it a little bit of force putting it in, but not too much force. And then just dial this. And I'm using a 2. I also have a 1. It works. I know it works in the 3, but it might be a little trickier to get it in there. We have that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a test cut. So you just go to your send panel and select your, let's go over here, select your material. I have a lot of custom materials in here. I'm going to select the Oracal, and then down at the bottom it has my settings. I don't know if you can read that or not. Probably not. But we have the force is at 15. I'm going to dial that back down to about 9, and I'm going to do a test cut. So we're going to come over here. We can watch the test cut. I'm just going to push that test cut button. And I do this with all new materials. Anytime I trade out my material, switch my color, change my blade, adjust my blade, I always do a test cut. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to weed out, and I picked white so it's hard to see. Let's do another color. And it weeded out that box perfectly. Let me do this on another color so you can see what it is we're doing. Grab another scrap. There's a scrap of black. Keep a little box of scraps for stuff like this. A burnishing tool that I've told y'all about how much I love that. This mat's not super duper sticky, so that helps stuff stick to that. And I'm going to send another test cut. So now you can see this test cut. If you've not been utilizing this feature, you really need to utilize this feature. And so what it does is it cuts a square and a triangle. And what you want to do is, with your weeding tool, make sure that you can weed the square and leave the triangle. And then I always fold that corner back and feel the back of the paper to make sure it didn't cut through the paper. So we're actually perfect on this cut and our settings at 9. If it was not quite cutting through exactly how I needed it to, I would increase my thickness or force. They've changed it from thickness to force in 4.1, which is what it should be, but right now yours will say thickness. If it was cutting too deep and cutting the paper just a little bit, I could decrease that thickness or force. And then I can leave it at this setting, because when I put maybe a little thicker vinyl through there, I can just increase my thickness without having to change the blade depth. But you can go in without even taking it out and adjust this blade. And I would just take some different scrap materials that you have and try it out. Don't test it out on something where you need that top ½ inch to do a project. But that's pretty much it. And it's the same thing when you need to change a blade. They do last a lot longer than the Silhouette blades. And you can, like I said, get several holders if you want to hold the different angles or for different materials. and I have two, because I have two machines that I use them in. But it's totally up to you. I will post a link of where I buy these, the person that I get them from. I know that they're a quality holder and blade. And I guess that's it. If you have any questions, just let me know.